Hello everyone, this is Maki. A talk show about the Gundam Seed series has been released on Japan's official Gundam YouTube channel. The show features director Mitsuo Fukudo and Satoshi Shigeta, who oversaw the mechanical production. They answered questions sent in by fans and shared insights into the world of the Seed series and their perspectives as part of the production team. This is the third episode. What questions did they answer this time? Let's find out together. First, there was a question about the design of the Immortal Justice Gundam. A fan asked what is the function of the blue part on the torso. It's quite a niche detail to notice. Satoshi Shigeta, who was in charge of the mechanical production, answered first. There was some discussion among the staff about the role of this part. Before the design process begins, if there is a request to include something like a Balkan Cannon in the torso of a mobile suit, then we create a design that reflects that. But often the designer will create designs freely. Often the staff will look at the design that Kunio Okawara has drawn and then decide what function to assign to certain parts. This isn't just a challenge unique to the Gundam series. It's something that many anime production teams struggle with during production. We often find ourselves asking, what exactly is the purpose of this part? Let me give you an example from when we were overseeing the design of the Master Grade Infinite Justice Gundam. There was a fierce debate among the staff about the number of Vulcan cannons. Since the head Vulcans were used in the anime, we all agreed on that. However, the part designed on the chest sparked discussion about its role. We debated its function, consulting official reference materials and weapon charts. We eventually realized that different sources listed different numbers of Balkan cannons. After these discussions, we concluded that the chest piece was a sensor. The chest parts of the Immortal Justice Gundam are also drawn with the assumption that they are sensors. Susumu Fujita, who led the computer graphics team, also shared his thoughts. The issue came up while we were working on the set for Immortal Justice. The question of whether or not the chest piece should be a Balkan cannon was important. Since we were following the design of the Infinite Justice Gundam, we came to the conclusion that it wasn't a Balkan cannon, but a sensor. That's why we made the chest a light blue lens in the design. When Okawara first submitted the design, the chest wasn't colored. It seems that the chest part of the Immortal Justice Gundam is a sensor rather than a Balkan cannon. This might be something to keep in mind if you're planning to modify plastic models. However, I'd like to add some more information here. In the show, it was mentioned that the belly of the Infinite Justice Gundam is equipped with a sensor, not a Balkan cannon, but the reference material I have says that a Balkan cannon is mounted there. On the other hand, the chest of the Justice Gundam is said to have a sensor. Interestingly, the Freedom Gundam also has a similar part on its chest. When the TV anime first aired, this part was called the Balkan Cannon. However, when the Master Grade Model Kit was released, the setting was updated to describe it as a sensor. This change in setting influenced the Justice Gundam's chest part, which was later defined as a sensor. So it's quite possible that the staff on the show were actually referring to the Justice Gundam rather than the Infinite Justice Gundam. In the Gundam series, settings often cause confusion, not only among fans, but even among the production staff. It seems that this kind of mix-up happened during the program as well. Shigito shared some fascinating insights. To be honest, as video production staff, we don't know how many Balkan Cannons the Immortal Justice Gundam is equipped with. This is a common occurrence among the staff working on the Gundam series. I often have conversations with people from other companies in the same field, and sometimes we end up discussing the names of Gundam weapons. But in many cases, I don't really know the official names of the weapons. At the video production stage, terms like beam saber are usually used without much specificity. Later on, the people who set up the details will assign official names to each weapon. Details such as the height, weight, and thrust of the mobile suit are often not finalized during video production. This is in line with Sunrise's philosophy as a company, something I've talked about on the show I've produced before. As an animation studio, Sunrise prioritizes the entertainment value of the visuals first and foremost during production. Rather than creating visuals based on pre-established sets, they focus on creating compelling scenes and then building the sets to match the visuals later. This visual-first approach can also be seen in other Gundam series. A well-known recent example is the scene with the burning Gundam and the shining Gundam in G Gundam. In the scene where the burning Gundam is holding the shining Gundam, the burning Gundam was shown larger than its actual size in the scene. This was done to enhance the beauty of the scene. So when you try to recreate the same scene with Gunpla models that follow the official scale, it doesn't quite work. The discussion about weapon names is also quite interesting. For smooth production, simpler names for weapons would make the process easier. The SEED series has many weapons with distinctive names. Even among fans, I imagine there are many people who have trouble remembering names like Belchina Beam Saber or Storm Spurher. Mr. Fukuda shared some thoughts on weapons, which ties in with the earlier discussion that not all production staff know the detailed settings. However, he clarified that not every member of the video production team is unaware of the settings. Let's take a closer look at what he said. I wanted to create a scene where bullet casings eject when a mobile suit fires its Vulcan Cannon. I was going for something similar to the preview footage from Char's counterattack. Specifically, the opening scene of SEED Freedom, where the Gundam fires its Balkan Cannon at the Zin. However, I was told by another member of the team, this Balkan Cannon doesn't use shell casings. I really wanted to include the grenade ejecting effect, but they insisted there is no such setting. Shigito then chimed in with a light-hearted comment, well, you could have just introduced a new weapon that ejects bullet casings. Although the video production team prioritizes entertainment and visual aesthetics, they also respect the established settings to a certain extent. They try not to create too many inconsistencies with the settings. Looking back at previous footage, the head Balkan cannons of the Strike Gundam don't eject bullet casings. The Gundam's Balkan cannons are actually an upgraded version of the Strike Gundams, so the presence of shell casings would indeed contradict the previous portrayal. The importance of coordination between the machine settings and video production teams was emphasized. The reason we fans can enjoy discussing the weapons and stories of the Gundam series is due to the combined efforts of these staff members who work hard to maintain consistency while delivering exciting visuals. Next, let's talk about the timeline of events in Seed Freedom. How long do you think the battles in Seed Freedom lasted? During the strategy meeting, just before the final battle, you can see the date 24th May Cosmic Era 75. Then, in the recently released epilogue cut, you can see the date May 30 Cosmic Era 75. Mr. Fukuda admitted I'm not sure about the exact number of days. Shigito added it wouldn't be surprising if it took a couple of months. Fukuda continued the timeline has changed since the story was first conceived. Originally, we thought the Foundation Kingdom punitive operation would last about a week. But when you watch the footage, it feels like it was all done in just 2 days. Allow me to add a comment here. Fukuda mentions the Foundation Kingdom punitive operation, but what he is probably referring to is the Blue Cosmos punitive operation. Let's continue with Fukuda's comments. If it had a we could have gone deeper into the emotional developments between the characters. That was the original plan. But when you think about it, having everything happen in 2 days is an extremely tight schedule. It's like they arrive one day, a bunch of things happen, and the next day they go into battle. It's a schedule that looks like a company that doesn't care about the well-being of its employees. Shigito laughed and said, "That's true. It's hard to be greeted with 'please take your time and rest,' only to be sent into battle the next day." Fukuda continued, when the campus arrives, they should prepare their equipment and personnel for battle. It would be normal to have proper strategy meetings, simulations, and training before going into battle. Looking at the flow of this conversation, it seems that they were indeed discussing the Blue Cosmos punitive operation. During the final battle with the Foundation Kingdom, there wouldn't have been time for such leisurely preparation. The Blue Cosmos punitive operation was portrayed as a very short event. Like the final battles later in the story, there was no time for extended preparation. The mission of the campus was to arrest Cal-re-A of Blue Cosmos, a dangerous terrorist recognized not only by France but also by the Eurasian Federation. If Blue Cosmos knew that the world-renowned campus was on its way, there was a risk that the wanted criminal Mikhail would have enough time to escape. It might also explain why the Black Knight Squad and campus have been operating separately. There hasn't been enough time to thoroughly train and coordinate their joint efforts. Many of you are probably curious about when the campus and the Foundation Kingdom were founded. This aspect was also discussed. Hiromi Ikeya, who was in charge of the production progress, said there were settings about when the Foundation Kingdom and the campus were established and how much time passed until the events of the film, right? Fukuda replied at the time of Gilbert Durano's activities in the story of Seed Destiny, the Foundation Kingdom had already been established. However, this answer didn't mention anything about the campus. My personal guess is that the information about the campus might be revealed in Newman's voyage logs. That may be why any discussion of the formation of campus was cut from the recording of this program. The program continues with more answers to fan questions and stories from the staff. But it's getting a bit long, so we'll stop here for now. I plan to do another segment with the rest of the content, so stay tuned. This time we got some fascinating insights into the minds of the video production staff. When it comes to the detailed settings of the SEED series, Shigeru Morito is the man in charge of that department. It would be great if Mr. Morita could take part in a similar program one day. Thank you for watching until the end. See you next time.